Hello and welcome to the God is a Geek podcast. My name's Adam Cook and I'm here laughing about a private joke that was before the podcast that you'll never know about. And joining me to just, sell me out or laugh with me is Chris White.
It was a cracker, wasn't it? Oh,
Mate, that's the worst fake laugh anyone's ever done.
I could do better
on this
I'll
podcast.
do better, but not right now.
Got it. Oh, okay. Gary Bailey. Oh, sorry, Chris. No, if you're going to do it.
Oh my God. Brilliant. There we go.
Jesus Christ. Wow. Gary Bailey, can you do a fake laugh?
I can't
imagine
follow
you
that.
can't. At least try. Oh, there it was. Hang on, there it was.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, God.
That's all you're getting out of me. I'm on holiday, so...
Okay. Adam Carroll, you're here as well. Can you give us your best fake laugh? Oh, my God. Well, what we've learned today is that none of the God is a Geek staff are actors, but they are gamers. That's terrible. I should fire myself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
it's time. It was bad. Listen, we've mentioned this a few times. In fact, it's becoming my little catchphrase. Games are coming. Gary Bailey and I have been playing one cracker. In fact, Chris and I have been playing another cracker, and Adam Carroll's been playing a cracker, and then there's another game that Chris has been playing, which we're going to talk about later. But I think no finer place to get started than Forza Horizon 4, Gary Bailey.
Yes, please. I kind of want to just go and play it. Just leave the podcast and go away and play it.
So I'm with when this goes up. Well, we won't say what score you gave it, but you liked it an awful lot.
Yes.
Now, I think this game's amazing. I really do. I think it's absolutely fantastic. The only problem I've got with it, and I want to ask you about this, right? I played a lot of Forza over the years. Like if I look to my left, I can actually see, I can't quite identify which number, but it looks like Forza Motorsport 3, the limited edition. I've got that one. I think was Forza 2 an Xbox 360 game?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I've got the limited edition of that. So I've been playing Forza games for a long time. I definitely prefer the Horizon series. I think it's probably obvious why. They're just sort of more my style of thing. But, when a game series has been running for quite a while,
Yep.
like, say, a Final Fantasy, and I'm not comparing it to that, but when a game series has just gone a long time, they start to bleed a little into one another. So with Forza Horizon 4, as much as I think this game is probably their best of any of the Forza games, I feel like I can't remember if some of the stuff in it is new or not. So I remember with Lee Garber on a video review of, I think, Forza Horizon 3 saying this game is like the new Burnout Paradise.
Yeah.
And this game feels like the new Burnout Paradise. Like, there are literally barriers that you can smash through for bonus points and shit. And, I don't think they were in the last game. Were they?
Barriers were.
Yeah, they've always been like the boards
Yeah.
to smash. It's just that they've kind of changed them a little bit in this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's more or less the same. I mean, the new stuff realistically is like the live stuff, and
What about the house buying?
yeah, that's new.
That is new, because that reminded me of Test Drive Unlimited,
Yeah, I mean,
which is a game I really, really like.
It doesn't do anything. It's just that rather than having, like the last game, you had the different festival areas.
Yeah.
Like there was this festival sites. Sorry, it's kind of that, but you're buying houses instead. So you've got another home to go to if you want. And
I would have liked them to embrace that a little more, because the first one you get, you unlock. So each house you buy has got I think they call it like a special ability, but really, after the first one where you get the drone, which allows you to fly around a bit, the special ability is unlocks beanie for your avatar, doesn't it? And it's
yeah, it's it's not much that you get from it. You get some wheel spins and stuff like that, so you can get some free stuff. But
that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think the first one's kind of the main one, and then it's just the rest is it's cool. You get some nice extra bits, but
here's something to spend your credits on.
Although,
but would this be a better game if they removed all the avatar shit and all the story and just made it because this game's got the floss in it, it's got dances in it, and it's I don't know about your. I watched your live stream and I felt like you had a lot better luck with your roles than me, because every time I do it, I get either a cosmetic or a dance.
Oh yeah, I had that earlier today when I was playing it, and it was just I had about 7 spins, and I'm sure about 6, maybe 5 of them were a dance or an emote or whatever.
Okay,
I did get the Halo
theme
on one of them though. The you know the horns that you can get, like the special horns.
Okay, yeah.
One of them is the Halo theme, which, I mean, it sounds ridiculous because it's a car horn playing the theme, but why not?
But this game is like, it is the one thing I think above all that I would come away saying, hey, this is amazing, is I think I've played racing games for as long as I can remember, and I think one of the things in modern racing games that very few get spot on out of the gate is that when you first start that game, when you hit play, often the handling of the first car is a little bit, am I okay with this? You know, and there's an adjustment period where I feel like in this game, every time I get in any car, it's just like, okay, this is one of that kind of car, I know how to play this game. It just feels tuned in a way that if you want to tune it more, you can, but it feels great.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, whereas you've got like the motorsport games are kind of the... Yeah. I mean, as much as I enjoy them, they're quite stale because they're very clinical and, you know, nobody other than people like me would really get into them. Whereas this kind of removes...
They've tried with the Top Gear stuff.
Yeah, it never quite worked, did it? I think it worked...
I don't think so either.
Yeah, that kind of stuff works better in Horizon. I think that's partially where the Horizon stuff started to come from. And I mean, they just do away with the clinical stuff and go... I mean, if you want, you can fiddle with the cars as much as you like, but most people will just go in and drive. And every car, even the ones that are still quite twitchy and hard to control, you'll still get used to them a lot quicker than you would in like a full sim. And I think that's part of why it's so good.
So the big question that I have to ask, which I am completely judging you on, and so is Adam and Chris, we're all judging you, because there is a right answer and a wrong answer, is, are you playing in performance mode or graphics mode?
Graphics.
I know what you're going to say. Yeah, for fuck's sake, Gary.
Of course I am. I'm a totally self-confessed, I will say, I'm a graphics whore. I absolutely am.
This game looks amazing when played in 60 frames as well.
I've played it both. I put it in, because obviously when doing the stream I have to do it in 1080p. So,
so you can bump it up to 60 then, can't you?
Stick it in performance mode. And it looks great, but I can see a massive difference when it goes up to like the full 4K. And
interesting, because I've only played in performance.
It looks brilliant either way, but it looks ridiculously good. And
I can't sacrifice frames, I'm afraid, for a bit of text. The speed of that game, I don't feel like I'm missing out. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'd be the same, definitely.
It's a brilliant game. It's just genuinely wonderful. It's really weird because like I had this moment where I was playing it where I thought to myself, and I hated myself for thinking this, but it's just this little thought. You know how they creep into your brain and you're like, get out, get out, get out. I just thought, if this was on PS4, this game would be selling millions.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I was saying. Like, it wasn't so long ago that I decided that I want to get an Xbox One for this game. Like, this is what I want. It's making me go get a console. So you're correct in saying that if it was on PS4, it probably would be selling like crazy, because I think people just want another racer like this all around. I was just going to ask there, guys, did they have? Did you get a chance to play with like the James Bond cars? Are they released?
Yeah,
we have. Yeah, I drive them default. Well, I really like the Subaru Impreza actually that you get at the start. Well, I think you get at the start. I can't remember. I just really like how it feels. But the Bond cars are good.
It's one of the choices when you go in, you go to like the rally stuff or like the off road stuff. Right. I chose the Cosworth.
Of course,
that is a ridiculously good car. It's one of my favourite cars in it so far because it just handles so well.
Same with me for the Subaru.
Because
the Bond cars are good, but there's some of them. I forget. I tried a couple of them. One of them's a bit fast, just a bit too fast for sort of kind of open world sort of minting around. Whereas the other, one of them's really good, but one of them's just a bit too fast for me.
Yeah, one of them I did. There's a Skyfall Championship. One of like the seasonal ones, and you're just all in the what is it, the DB5 I think it is, the one that was in Skyfall and Casino Royale and that. And that was really fast, but it's so bloody heavy, so like getting it round corners at speed is not fun.
Is there anything that you can see that like you're not too keen on that you would probably down the line, if there is a 5 and a 6, say that like you would like a bit of improvement, or like just cut that out altogether? Is there like, 'cause this is the fourth in the franchise, and they're always like pretty positive, these games. So like right now, with especially you guys being like a racing game enthusiasts, like what do you think that isn't shining out here for you?
The biggest issue I've had is the showcases in this one. There's two. I mean, the first one's really good. The Halo one's really good. But
you say that. Are they really good, or are they all right when you compare them to what's come before it?
No, I mean, I think like when you're like the spectacle,
race a fucking plane in one of them before.
That was in 3,
hovercraft
was
one
it?
is really good. But I don't know. It's like
I can't remember.
The others feel like what's come before. You know, there's not really a massive difference. I think for the next game, I'd like to see a lot more variety.
But how do you do that without breaking the rules of the world? Like you you race a train, you race a hovercraft. There's in the previous games you race a plane. You know, how do you, without basically going to space and removing gravity? How do you?
I honestly could.
It's a racing game.
I don't think I could answer that myself personally.
No,
but I don't know. I just think. I mean, there's not that many of showcases in this one.
No.
I feel like there's less in this than any of the others. I don't know. Maybe it was just one of the sticking points for me. Is I just think they could have been better. Like they've run out of ideas, and they're just. I don't know. They need to just put a bit more thought into the next ones. I mean, it's easy for me to say.
You know what they should do? They should add planes and boats and make it so that you can press a button on the D-pad and change from a car into a plane. Because, like, all joking aside, one of my only complaints, I really like this game. Like, I think it's such a good racing game. It just hits that spot. I know that sounds like a bit of a wishy-washy thing to say, critiquing a game, but it does. It hits that spot. Like the rock soundtrack is absolutely fantastic as well. Like it's even got a Foo Fighters track on there. You know, it kind of covers all bases, and there's some good bands on there. Like it feels good driving around with that radio playing.
Yeah.
I think one small criticism, because it's not really a massive thing, is the voice acting. Like it feels really weird to me, right, that you've got a game by a British developer set in Britain with British accents, and yet somehow those British accents sound fake. Like the Scottish guy doesn't sound right. Is
that because though it's a British accent? Like I always feel that like if I hear an Irish accent in a game, and it was like that person is definitely Irish, it just always kind of sounds off because you're hearing your own kind of accent.
I don't
almost.
know, because none of them are my kind of accent. Like there's one of the main guys is Scottish. One of the other ones, that's right. I ain't posh, mate. Back off. One of the accents sounds like someone trying to do Sean Bean. I think I said that to you guys in the text. It's not a deal breaker, but like I don't know. I just feel like the game looks amazing apart from when it's showing you people, because obviously they're not going to devote like enormous resources to people when they're not in the game very much. Like I don't think I think they could do with. In fact, if they moved away from that as well, they could make Forza Horizon 5 more fantastical. They could go to space for some event, because like there's no people involved. They could truly go mental with it. I think for me the biggest criticism, and I don't know if Gaz will agree with this or not, I don't know what I expected, but I don't think the map is quite as. I expected it to kind of represent England, Britain, whatever, a bit better. And I think I haven't played as much as Gaz, but I feel like over 10 hours, I feel like the whole game's set in Scotland. And that's fine. Like, Scotland's a lovely place. But like they name Edinburgh when you're driving through the city, that's Edinburgh. There's a coastal area. There's an area that feels a bit like the Cotswolds at the start of the game, Gaz, isn't there? I don't feel like they really quite deliver on whatever I had in my head. That I thought maybe you're gonna, am I gonna race past Big Ben? You know,
and that's not happening.
You know,
no, it's more of like a rural Britain.
Oh, yeah, countries.
Like because the Edinburgh city is that's kind of like the most you get in terms of like urban area, and that's very
and I will say
that's what Edinburgh is. You know, it's
what I will say with Edinburgh as well in the game. I found that's perhaps some of the least fun driving, because you're not able to just let loose as much because obviously it's built up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very kind of tight corners, and I mean it's 90-degree corners kind of thing all the time. So yeah, I mean it's difficult when you get. It's cool when you get like a drift car in there, so like cause you can throw that around brilliantly, but yeah, anything speedy you can't really do much with.
No, but they do clever stuff with it because like these. There's billboards you smash. One is like they're I forget what they are now. They're like fame. The currency is it's like XP. Yeah, influence. So it's like influence boards, and they're hidden in clever places. Like there's one I spent 20 minutes on that was on top of a house in the middle of the sort of forest, and I knew that I could get it. It was a case of getting the right speed. It was almost like a puzzle. Like you could go too fast and go over the top of the house and miss the board. You had to get the timing right. And that was cool. And there's also fast travel boards. So they kind of, like, it leads into something that I think is really fascinating. And it was the first time I saw one in this game. I was blown away by it. It's so weird having a driving game with roundabouts in.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. I mean,
because all driving games are set in not the UK. So
there were some in 3. But they were much more like the bigger kind of highway-style ones. But there was because weirdly one on my Facebook thing, you get that here's your whatever you did last year or whatever. Right. One of them was a shot I put up of Forza Horizon 3, me just barreling straight over a roundabout. And I was just thinking, earlier that day I was playing 4 and I did exactly the same thing. Like, why would I go round it?
I just I find it really weird because I do drive in real life, and so I come up to a roundabout in this game and. Part of my reaction is to want to slow down and do it properly, but then I'm like, "Fuck this! I'm going the wrong way round." Because the best thing, the secret best thing about this game, right, is that it does not pay you to stay on the roads. Like this game is a secret off-road dream.
Oh God, yeah.
Like so you get your GPS up and it's got the blue line and it's directing it to you, and it's like there's a left and a right and a left and a right, and then you go. Yeah, but I could also just say fuck it and drive through the trees. And then you realise that the quickest and actually the most rewarding, because you get loads of XP for doing it, the best way to do it is actually the most direct, which is the kind of old-fashioned joke of like, someone goes to a roundabout and like, take the second exit on the right, and they just keep going round and round and round because there is no right, they're all left. But like, the idea being that the quickest way to get across a roundabout is actually to just drive fucking straight through it. And it's the same in this game. Like, you could follow the roads and be real nicey, and you'll be rewarded for like finding stuff. But if you go off the beaten path and just decide, actually, rather than going round this zigzag hill, I'm just going to go up the hill off road, you'll find like an XP board or something, an influence board, and it's like that is just the game is at its best. Like I found that train track by there's a train track. I'm just going to go and drive across this aqueduct where the train is, and it's like there's a train, and I wonder if that train can just batter you if you're on there.
I think that's where the game kind of like brought me in as well, is like that kind of way of playing it, because I'm not a racing game person, but whenever I played a Horizon game, that is what I did. I just took off into the fields, and it's so impressive because it's just so fast that you're just like, oh my god, and there's just trees going by you and everything, and it's just so much fun.
It's just when you see a house coming at you, that's when you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. It's crazy to me that now Microsoft have got the best racing games and Sony are doing the best sort of, shooters, when originally like Halo was dominating while Gran Turismo was dominating, and now they kind of all but swapped.
Yeah.
But you can read Gary's review and watch some videos on our channel. We might stream some. I can't remember, Gaz, the time we recorded this, will you have streamed some more? I can't remember what we're doing now.
Well, this will be going out Wednesday, so I would have streamed.
So go watch that and watch the videos and read the review, and we'll I'm sure we'll talk more Forza, because it's going to be in Game Pass as well. That's the crazy thing.
Well, that's it.
The one thing I was going to...
It's weird for me because of how early it is.
Yeah, like the game's not out. I mean, you can. So how is it going to work this year? You can pay loads of money for like the early access, but how early is it?
Yeah, on Friday you'll get it. On the Ultimate Edition, and then it's like the following Tuesdays when the normal release is.
When you could go buy it in a shop.
Yeah.
The one thing I was going to ask is, have you had a chance to test the PC version at all?
No.
Okay.
'Cause it was like 60 odd gig on the, on the Xbox X as it was. So I thought,
So laziness is what you're saying.
bit.
That's fine. Yeah, no, that's fine. Well, for those of you who don't like racing games or any sports whatsoever, that's cool because Chris, you reviewed FIFA 19.
I did, mate. Yeah. Buckle up, guys. You're in for a treat. Yeah, excellent game. Really impressed this year. I think it's surpassed itself after the last few years. I mean, it's gradually been getting to a place it used to be. But I mean, for the last few years, it's always been PES, especially for me. Whereas,
Yeah, for both of us.
well, yeah, exactly. But there seems to have been quite a bit of a shift this year where PES hasn't excelled. It's just kind of meandered, whereas FIFA's kind of taken quite a lot of steps forward to kind of shift my attention more to FIFA.
I think FIFA's so impressive because of what they've added.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the thing I said about PES is that it's still a terrific game of football. Like it plays brilliantly still, but when you go, the thing is that's not enough nowadays. It's that's kind of going back to the old days of like, oh, this year's FIFA has the updated teams and nothing else. And I'm not saying PES has done that. That's not fair. But FIFA has genuinely shocked me. I was not expecting all that shit with kickoff, man.
No. I mean, the tendency for sports game especially is they'll say, oh, there's a new movement system or there's a completely revamped something system, whereas you never really notice any of the changes.
They're buzzwords as well, aren't they? They're
exactly.
Like,
and then
they want you to use them.
Yeah. And then every few years they do introduce something which completely changes it. And whilst this kickoff mode doesn't change the game massively, it does introduce a really fun mode where you can manipulate the rules to have like lots of fun in a standard kickoff mode. And the kickoff mode in the past has just been a case for you to just jump in, play a game.
Yeah, it's whether just been
it's
there,
against
hasn't it, for like,
the computer, or me and you or whatever.
When your mates come round or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. But like House Rules, it's called, and House Rules has got all these. So House Rules is a kick mode within kickoff, and so what it does, it's very clever. I think, because if someone like myself who still plays football and I coach football and I'm well into my football, let's just say, to include stuff like this, kind of like, I don't know if you guys played football as kids or not. I know, like Gaz, you're not a huge fan. I know Adam, I don't think you're a fan, but
I played football.
Okay,
Jesus.
but like, headers and volleys is something we used to play as kids. Like I used to play headers and volleys. It is what it sounds like. It's you're passing to one another, but it has to be a header or a volley. And in this mode of FIFA, like if you play headers and volleys mode in House Rules, a goal only counts if it's scored via a header or volley. And that makes things different because it means you're trying to play in a way that gets you to score a header or volley. Another one is, I think it's called long shot or something like that. And basically, if you score a goal from outside the box, it counts as double. So, like, you're going to get people playing as Ronaldo and just belting it from outside the box. One of my personal favourites is, and there's a video of this on the channel as well, God is a Geek, definitely go watch it, is Chris playing No Rules. And that's what it sounds like. No Rules is there's no fouls, there's no offsides. And that is... I actually would go so far as to say that including that is genius. Like... It becomes... I didn't expect to play a FIFA and be laughing, but my son and I, my eldest, were playing this, and we were just fouling the shit out of each other. Like it became a game of...
I think it was like FIFA 07 or something like that, and you had, like, if you pressed L1, they did, like, a dirty tackle. And
so
me and my brothers used to play it.
In...
No, FIFA 97, in fact, it will have been, not 07. Fucking hell.
I think it was ISS Pro, which was kind of... I think it had the Eric Cantona kick in it. One of them. I can't remember the name of the game, but I vividly remember that you could press... I think it was X and square.
Deluxe.
Was it what?
ISS, you say?
I think it was ISS,
so ISS Deluxe? Or...
I thought it was ISS Pro, and you pressed square and cross, and you literally did the Cantona kick. But I digress. Like, it became... This mode becomes a hot potato, essentially. Like, if you've got the ball... You better damn well hope you can get away from me because I'm going to switch player repeatedly and every one of them is going to slide and try and kill you because you get the ball. And It's funny, and you can take control of your player and just have him stand on the goalkeeper line with the keeper because offsides don't count. And the other mode, and it's almost, it feels to me like almost a reaction to Battle Royale mode. It just, I don't know why, I can't quite articulate why it feels this way, but if you score a goal, your player gets removed from field. So if I score a goal, one of my team goes sent off, and if I score another one gets taken off. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why that's Battle Royale to me, but it's that kind of...
I thought that way as well, though, because it's a similar style, just rather than you...
Again, it's clever. But it didn't matter, because my son went 1-0 up, one of his players was taken off, and he still beat me. But, like, it's taken me by surprise, Chris. Were you expecting this?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't expecting the... Just the minor changes to make a lot of difference, like the one with the journey, for example, and the career mode. The way they've incorporated the Champions League into everything, like what PES did with it was good, but FIFA it's just incredible. Like everyone knows.
To play devil's advocate, though, is that them showing off their new toy? A little bit, because when you first start the game, you know how you get like a match every year. They just like, here's a match and play kick off, and then we'll give you the menus. This year, it's literally the Champions League final.
Yeah,
and it felt a bit to me like EA going, look at what we've got, and I don't blame them, but you know,
I don't know, maybe. But if you got it, flaunt it.
Well, absolutely, Chris. That's what we're doing, man.
With the just the visuals, the commentary changes. I think it's Lee Dixon and someone else, can't remember. But just the music's there, the visuals are there. The way they incorporate into the journey is that Alex Hunter is now whoever you left the last game as, he's playing for them, and then he gets signed to El Blancos, Real Madrid, and then you get involved in the Champions League, and your best mate is also playing for the team that you played with last season. For me, it was West Ham, so it was weird seeing West Ham in the Champions League. But you've got
Derby for me.
Oh, was it?
No, it wasn't. Sorry, I was thinking about Derby because I was going to ask you about Frank Lampard, but that's a whole other podcast. No, it's Bournemouth for me.
Good old Frankie. But yeah, so that you've got those two stories, and it changes between playing as Alex Hunter, playing as Danny Williams, and then playing as Kim Hunter, your younger sister, who's playing in the Women's World Cup. So not only have they kind of built upon the women within the game, they've incorporated that into the main story, and it's just kind of, it's a lot bigger and a lot better. And the career mode, there's a lot of minor changes into the visuals and stuff like that. And with when I was saying about the Champions League's inclusion, it allows you to watch the draw for the Champions League, and it's all very kind of front and centre. Like you say, they are showing it off, but they've got means to, because they could do a lot with it, and that's what they're doing. But just in terms to the gameplay as well, like there are specific differences with that help make it a lot more kind of, you can control a lot better with the kind of new movement system, like the one touch system. That's been improved greatly, so you got more control when receiving balls in, and the new kind of timed finisher is a nice little addition, because you've got an opportunity to kind of strike the ball at a specific time for it to be a lot more powerful and a lot more accurate. So there's a lot more ways to kind of manipulate your team into getting the best out of them. So and just on the whole, it feels less arcadey, because it kind of went from being a straight simulator to being really fast and kind of clunky and just not FIFA, and now it's kind of come back around on itself, and it's starting to focus on a really kind of realistic experience, but not taking away the fun. So just in general, I think it's an excellent sequel to last year's, and we'll see what happens next year. But for now, there's so much to do, and so many different modes, and like the Ultimate Team, for example, that's back.
Yeah, I'm still addicted to Ultimate Team.
Yeah, with some like minor additions, but it's cracking game. I'm really glad, because I kind of wanted it to be better, because originally it was all about FIFA for me. So it's nice to see it kind of come back and be as good as it was. Well, it is.
Well, sports haters, we've got a treat for you now. Adam Carroll, could you please, are you ready for this? You ready for this?
Give it to me. Go on.
Okay, but whoa.
Well, look, hang on. It's not
that kind of podcast. Chris, we're going to stick with Chris, but Adam, you need to. Well, bloody hell, you need to be very, very aware, and because basically, well, I'm not going to beat around the bush. You need to take over hosting for a few minutes because I know nothing about this at all. I've seen video footage, which hopefully soon our viewers, listeners, readers will be able to have a look at this game in action. Because Chris, you went down to that there London again. Well, it's probably London. They're always in London, and you played quite a bit, I believe, of WWE. I believe that stands for World Wrestling Entertainment.
Sure does.
2019.
Yeah. Played about 3 hours.
Just like I say, Adam, if you could just take over, I'm going to sit here and suck my water.
I think Chris, straight off the bat, for the event that you went to, I think you're going to be taken back. Like, I think the game is going to be secondary here because I'm sure you met some wrestlers at the event,
right? So there was walked in and there was a hell of a lot of people. I wasn't expecting to be like there was like over 30, 40 people, like games journos there, and I normally events kind of around 10 at the most. Pez normally do like a big kind of event, but it was in this like little kind of club thing, and I like when you walked in there was like an area for seating to watch this presentation. And there were no consoles or anything. It's like, well, am I just watching this presentation because I thought I was playing it? But when like after the presentation, you go down the stairs and there's this fucking huge room with about 50 Xboxes set up. So I was like, cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was massive. It was
no, the Xboxes.
Yeah,
they were Xboxes.
Yeah, well, mine was an Xbox.
Wow, okay.
I'm assuming most of them were Xbox One X's. To be fair, yeah, they're all set up downstairs. But the presentation, because there was a stage as normal, and there was a big screen behind it. And then 2 security guards walked in, like 2 big blokes, and they were one was watching the door and one was watching this back entrance where a lot of the kind of PR companies kept coming in and out of. I was like, oh, here we are, who is it? And I was thinking, is it going to be Seth Rollins? Is it going to be AJ Styles? And then the time for the presentation came. The creative, I don't quite know who it was. I think he was a creative director. But he came out and gave a presentation, and it was awesome. And he said, in the last video, he said, right, we've got a special message from Ric Flair via video.
Via video.
And then he went, I'm not going to do the woo because I think Charlotte Flair's here. And I was like, fuck Charlotte Flair. And then this video came on.
Is she a wrestler?
Yeah, she's just lost the Women's Championship at Hell in a Cell. But the Ric Flair video came on, and Ric Flair, bless him, like Adam, you'll know this. He's not crazy now.
I won't.
But he's kind of getting on a bit, and he's a bit loose of a loose cannon, to say the least.
He's a bit loose.
But he's just a bit wired. Like he's not quite there anymore.
He was never there. I know Ric Flair is.
It's kind of harsh to say, but it's like the man went into a sweet shop and just ate every packet of Nerds possible, and he's just like buzzing like crazy.
Yeah, it was off his tits, and it was just like a generic message. And then he went, right, well, thank you for watching this. You can now go and play the game. I was like, oh, what's going on? So no one was there, and I went downstairs, played the game, got a load of footage.
Ric Flair's daughter there, so happy that she's referred to as no one was there.
Well, no, because at this point I didn't know anyone was there, because he said Charlotte Flair was there, but she wasn't. So I thought he was just, I don't know. And then I went upstairs because the PR lady was like, oh, there's some food upstairs, and they had the best chicken burgers I've ever had, like big, lovely chicken breast with jalapenos and some of this really nice garlic mayo. Oh, it was amazing. And as I was chowing down on
Thank
this
you
mayo...
for the full disclosure, Chris. Thank you.
Getting this mayo all over my face, fucking Charlotte Flair walks past me, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I look such an idiot. And we didn't get to meet her.
Mayo all over your chops.
Yeah,
and it's garlic.
We didn't get to meet her, but she's a stunning figure. Like, she's a specimen. She's just a very athletic woman and very beautiful. Anyway, back to the game
Athlete
itself.
is athletic. Newsflash at 10.
Fuck off. I just meant she's very, very nice physique.
Yeah, I got it.
Anyway,
Go on, mate.
You're all right.
She was watching her back entrance like the bloke at the door.
So the game itself...
Adam Cook, you're
I
supposed
might
to be
have to
quiet.
cut that. I might have to cut that. Fuck it, I'm not cutting that. If people don't know it's just a silly joke by now, then why are you listening to this podcast?
You listened to the wrong one, go and listen to someone else. The game itself, so it has improvements over last year, and then it doesn't. Like, I mean, Adam, one of the first things you said when you saw the footage was the wrestlers shite.
I was a bit surprised because I know which video capture device you use because I have one of them here as well. So I knew it wasn't like the capture's like low bit rate. No. I didn't. I said I didn't. I don't think it looks great, and it's like it's one of those games where like. What are you looking at here, right? So I'm looking at a ring. There is an audience, probably some tables. There's maybe the commentary team is somewhere ringside. You know, that's the gist of it is that. And there are at least 2 wrestlers, maybe more, in the ring, and it's a licensed video game, and I just didn't think the fidelity of it looked all a bit washed out and a bit kind of, I'm not going to say last gen because I'm not an idiot, but it just didn't look. I would have expected it to look phenomenal, like when you see Ronaldo walk out in FIFA. Do you know what I mean? When you would expect some of these wrestlers to be. I don't know.
No, I'm gonna defend it slightly with this because with FIFA, when they walk out of the tunnel, that's like a set video that you're not controlling, and when they play,
I'm trying to think of another example if I'm honest with you, but like you know what I mean, right?
I do get it, but they're quite close up when you're there, and they're quite like they are like the movements and the way they move and the way they taunt and pull off the moves. They're very typical of the wrestlers themselves, like. Adam, you'll know Pete Dunne. He's like a technician. He's very much...
Again, no, I won't.
Mr. Carroll. I'll refer to you as a cookster now. So,
I fucked it, haven't I?
Yeah, you have. So Pete Dunne and Finn Balor, so they're very kind of different styles, but you kind of... When I was controlling Pete Dunne, he kind of was pulling off the submission moves, like the bruiserweight that is quite tough and grounded, whereas Finn Balor... a lot faster, he moved around a lot better, and it kind of you did feel the difference in the match, and you had to kind of adapt your play to suit who you were wrestling. So when it comes to like one-on-one and like tag team matches, when there's only really 2 wrestlers in the ring, that's when it's at its best in terms of the grappling system and the reversal system. They've added a new kind of element called payback system, which is actually really good because if you're taking a lot of a beating, and you've just had a finisher done on you. There are certain payback options, so you kind of get to select them. There's different types. So one of them, if you press I can't remember what it is. It might be triangle. You can instantly kick out of a finisher. So you can store that, and if they did a finisher on you and you know it's over, press that, they kick out of it straight away. There's other kind of payback options that allow you to kind of come back and build up your stamina instantly, or build up like part of your health, so some of the damage deteriorates and you kind of get back to how you were. So they're kind of last gasp moves that you could use to kind of make the match a bit more realistic. But at the end of the day, they've still got that awful pinning system and the submission system, which will forever hinder it, because I absolutely hate it. I hate the fact.
Can you explain how you kick out of a game? Because I remember reading your preview where you basically, like the old ones I used to play when I liked wrestling, was you'd hammer the button, like, and it would be a bit like track and field. Like, you had to really hammer it, and the more you got kicked in the face, the more you had to hammer it. You basically, at one point, you essentially had to masturbate the controller to get out of a pin.
I
don't remember masturbating controllers to get out of these
well,
things.
then you clearly weren't doing it right.
Pushing buttons, my friend.
No, you weren't. You were absolutely going at it. So what do you do now then, with the pins?
Oh, I thought you meant with the masturbating.
No, with the pins, Chris, please. It's a family show, mate. It's a family show.
So you've got
I've just remembered my son the other day goes, I've never actually listened to your podcast. I'm going to make sure he doesn't. Just remembered that he's...
Best not.
Yep.
So you've just done a finisher, you go for a pin, or even you've just got into the match, 10 seconds, you get punched to the ground and someone goes for a pin.
Yeah.
A little circle comes up with a gauge on. And from the moment the referee drops to his knees and starts counting, the gauge goes to the green... There's a green area, a red area, sorry, on like the left side of the circle at the bottom, and you have to stop it. So like a 3-throw or like stuff like that, where you have to stop the gauge in the middle. Now, the difference is, if you miss the first time, that red bar moves to the left or to the right. So
Oh,
it's not
that's
in the
really
same place.
stupid.
So if you miss it 3 times in a row, obviously you get pinned. So it doesn't matter if it's late in the game or not. The only difference is it's bigger at the start of the game, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's easier to kick out. And I was having matches at the event, and it was annoying because you're trying to kick out after 2, and you know that's your last go on the 3rd, and then you fuck it. And then you're pinned, and then it ruins it. It does ruin the game. And that...
I used to quite like it because, like, when towards late in the match when you were hammering away at it, like, you know, really going for the controller, like you sort of wouldn't know.
No.
And that was kind of part of the fun of it, because part of the thing with wrestling is, all right, everyone knows it's. I don't want to say the word fake because they're real athletes, but you know, everyone knows it's preordained.
Yeah.
It's partially scripted,
Staged. Yeah.
Part of staged. Part of the entertainment of that is that you know, like someone like Stone Cold does a stunner, and for the first time ever, someone kicks out of it. Do you know what I mean? Like The Rock does rock bottom.
Yeah.
I'm dating myself a little bit, but part of that is like that's amazing. The fact they are or aren't pinned, because you don't know if the kick out's going to come. And part of that, while it may have been like, I wonder if they've taken the wrong lesson from that and gone, oh, it's really irritating that you don't know for sure if you're going to kick out. But that's kind of.
Well, he said,
take it to any other sport. Someone hits a shot, you can't know if the keeper will save it.
Well, exactly. And the submissions are the same. There's another circle that appears, and that
sounds like UFC.
And you've got. Well, this is why it's frustrating. Is because again, this little red bar in the circle, and you're a blue bar in the circle. So if you're doing the submission, you've got to use the right analog to move around to the red bar.
Oh no,
but
thanks.
then they're controlling the red bar, or the AI's moving.
So that is UFC.
So you have to
yeah.
hover over it for long enough, but you can't. It's so awkward to move around this circle, and especially if you're the one that's just having like a simple armbar put on you. You can't get out of it, and you submit. So again, like with the pins, it's very easy to lose. And like he was saying, how it's still a sports sim, but we're trying to make it fun. We'll maybe focus less on the big head mode and focus more on that. Like that's why Fire Pro.
What's wrong with
so
just
good.
throttling your controller? Like if we're playing
Fire Pro does that
1v1,
that's why it's
does
so
it?
good.
So if I'm doing a submission move on you in Fire Pro, is it a case of I'm smashing away at my controller
you're
and you're
wanking
smashing
the
away?
shit out of the controls?
Yeah,
you're bashing
and we're both doing
bashing
it.
Bashing the buttons,
Whoa.
and you're doing that on pins or submissions. So it is like you say, you don't know whether you're going to kick out or not. But that's very much kind of indicative of New Japan, where their kind of near falls happen, especially in the bigger matches, kind of all the time. But you're never entirely sure whether one finish will finish them. So it kind of represents that.
That's kind of the fun, though, isn't it?
And that game is a hell of a lot better in terms of gameplay. Still, even though it's 16-bit characters on a ring that doesn't move, that game is just easily better in terms of gameplay.
This is the issue I've had. Like I gave up on the 2K series. I think 18, and I'm probably not going to be going near 19 if I'm honest, from what I've seen and what I'm hearing. I think they just don't have enough time. They need more time to create this game if they want it the way they're trying to do it. Because if you're putting in all these little mini games, is what I'm calling them basically, they're so
that's what they are.
Let's just put it straight. They're so shit. They're so shit. They're so like not fun.
Yeah.
They're completely. It blows my mind because WWE right now for me as a viewer, it's not. I'm not really like, holy smokes, what's happening every week. It's kind of, it just goes through so many patches of being boring, and the games are doing the exact same thing as the actual real life thing. It's like you're making the game boring. And if they just looked back at like the SmackDown game, SmackDown vs Raw, just bring it, all these ones that like they are rough, but at the time so much fun because there was no real thinking about it. It was just scrapping, grab a ladder straight away. Like you create a match in those games that like wouldn't really happen in a real kind of wrestling match because obviously the pacing is like set up. But in those old ones, you just like ladder straight away, table straight away. And in this, it's just like, it's so slow. And it's just like, I appreciate the heaviness of the hitting and stuff. But man, when they came out with 15 initially, they had like that screenshot going around of John Cena, which blew people's minds because you were just like, the definition. You could literally see the veins in his arms, and that was the thing that people were saying. And then the games come out, and it's like the hair is all over the place. Like that goddamn hair thing, like the seaweed hair. I think the audience, the audience look atrocious, and they're all repeated NPCs that are just bouncing up and down. The commentary was awful, always awful. Like, how is that in this? Like, is there any improvement with like commentary?
No.
Do you know, that's not it.
No, you're right. The amount of times they repeat the same fucking. Like I played as Ronda Rousey a couple of times. On both occasions, they repeated the baddest woman on the planet line about 4 times between both matches. And I mean, commentary is very
not acceptable.
It's very strong on the show. Like that's where it kind of excels. Especially now Renee Young is taken on the commentary for Raw, especially. But this just feels so archaic that it's not good. Like there's so many good sports games. Yeah,
they need competition. Is it a problem that basically there's one license, one game, one show in town? Like
it's because
do they need a new developer? Do they need someone else to have a stab at this game? Because it's Ukes, isn't it? And it's always Ukes.
I think WWE it'll only ever have the license will only ever be for one studio, and I think if another studio took over, it'd have to be done from the ground up, and you'd have years of improvement from then on.
Yeah,
there's not a big enough wrestling promotion in the world that is even close to WWE.
No.
There's a lot of fantastic promotions, but
if there is, he buys them anyway, doesn't he?
Yeah, and in terms of budget and funds they're not want to waste it on making games. They want to make it on building.
Well, not when there's the only game and people will buy it anyway.
That's the weird thing, though, because it used to be when it wasn't like the PS1 era. There were multiple games because there was like. Was it the Attitude games? And then you had SmackDown as well.
They weren't
they? There was WCW Thunder. There was Impact TNA. Those TNA games. There was Backdoor. We got fucking what was it on the PS2?
Backyard Wrestling. Yeah.
Like that's
Backdoor Wrestling is a very different thing, Chris.
Way different game.
Yeah, I was playing that on my phone.
That does sound like a phone game, actually. Yeah,
it's a touch
incognito tab.
Yeah.
While we're actually very quickly mentioning those old titles, right? I just want to quickly point out there was a wrestling game back in the day on the PlayStation 1 called Power Move Pro Wrestling. Anyone that's listening to this, right? Look it up, or even if you can try and get like a copy of it. And tell me, how are you supposed to do moves in it? Because that game is a fucking... It's just like a complete puzzle. Like, you just do not know how to play it. It's so funny.
It's like Kojima's wrestling.
Oh man, don't even get me started.
Well, let's get into the news, because you mentioned the PlayStation 1 there, and that seemed like a great idea. Oh, there will be more. There's a preview on the website for WWE. I said we would do some video stuff as well. We've almost got too much video because do you know what I mean? Isn't it, Chris? There's a lot. They let you capture a lot, which is great. But speaking of like the PlayStation 1, Sony are getting involved because we've had the NES Classic, we've had the SNES Classic. There's a mini Genesis at some point that's been delayed, and now Sony have announced the PlayStation Classic. It's coming with 20 pre-installed games. And that's December. I don't think they've announced it. Yes, they have announced the price. It's £89.99, €99, December the 3rd. And that's... so I guess even though I'm of the generation where like the NES... I had a NES, I got a NES, I think, for Christmas.
Yeah.
But there's something about that PlayStation 1 and the PS2 just holds a special thing. I don't think they've said the full list of games.
No, they've only announced like 5 of them, which...
Well, we know Final Fantasy VII, which is interesting because that game gets resold still. Like, you could... In fact, I bought it on PS4. Wild Arms, which I'll be honest with you, can't remember. Tekken 3, which is strange. It's the third one.
The best one.
Yeah, it's probably the best one on there.
I mean, again, for Tekken me, because 2. I got it at Christmas and I had Tekken on import, like, Resident Evil I had on import. Destruction Derby's the game I want that won't be on there, because I don't even know. I'm going to Google it now, actually. Destruction I don't even know who'd own that now. Really,
What was it? Was it Psygnosis that did that?
yeah, yes, it was. Psygnosis was the publisher. I mean, this is how mad this is. According to Wikipedia, the developer was Reflections Interactive. The publisher was Psygnosis. Now, Reflections Interactive is an Ubisoft developer. 1995 Destruction Derby. I don't think we're gonna.
Would you want
get
1
that
or 2?
on there.
Was 2 the better game?
I think 2 was the better game.
Did both of them have the bowl thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
Because that was some fun. That was just yes.
absolutely.
It's one of the things I loved about Wreckfest.
I must admit that game interests me.
Can I just
in
say
particular? Yeah, sorry, that's gone.
I'm just gonna when this was announced, I went I came online, saw it, and I was like, okay, cool. I was like, yeah, I think I want that. And then I gave myself 15 minutes, and I just went, I don't actually need this. Not to be a downer on it, right? But I have my Vita that I use still quite a lot because I can play 20 plus PS1 games on my Vita for half the price. PS1 games are going for nearly $5 bucks or whatever, or euro, whatever you want to say, on the Vita. And I know the novelty of having the little mini PlayStation is cool, but I don't know, it's definitely I'm not saying, if the people don't have a Vita and stuff, obviously I'd be saying get this, depending on what the other 15 games are going to be. But Final Fantasy VII, don't get me wrong, it does have a place there, but you can get it everywhere now. It's I don't feel like these things are those games are right. I think they should pick the games that are kind of a bit harder now at this stage. I'd love to see Sheepdog and Wolf come on this, Pandemonium. I don't know, these kind of ones.
But I wonder if you can get that, because while we're talking about PlayStation, they've also announced that PlayStation Now you can download games via that service as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
I don't
Just
know if that's
PS4
come to
ones,
the
though,
UK. Oh, I thought it was PS2 ones as well.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Because there's PlayStation 2 games have had
PS3 ones you can.
But I just wanted to group it in there with sort of PlayStation news. It's Game Pass, isn't it? It's their answer to Game Pass. It's good. It's always good to see. I don't know why they're taking this long to do it, but I mean, it's just back to the PlayStation Classic. Is there any one game, like mine was Destruction Derby, is there any one game, like Chris, you just want on there?
Probably Driver.
Was that a PS1 game?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I used to love
And
Driver.
so was Driver 2.
Yep.
San Francisco. Yeah.
That was the 360 one, was it, for San Francisco? Which was the one where you were dead, but you could inhabit people's bodies? That was San Francisco, wasn't it?
I think he's saying
wasn't bad. I think
it was set in San Francisco, wasn't it? The original, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Driver 2, Back in the Streets.
Okay. Gaz, any particular game?
Die Hard Trilogy. Sorry, Die Hard Trilogy.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one.
I mean, the problem is the ones I'd want are the ones that you wouldn't be able to do because it doesn't have analog sticks.
Right.
So it's like Soul Reaver would be great, but you wouldn't be able to.
No chance.
So maybe Blood Omen, because Blood Omen was pre-analog.
Top down, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What about PlayStation Now? Anyone gonna give it a go?
Not until it gets incorporated into PS Plus.
Okay.
I think it's a bit too expensive.
Too expensive? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, $12.99's a lot.
Well, Thronebreaker is a lot to take in because it's Thronebreaker: The Witcher Tales has just randomly been announced by CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
No one knows what it is.
Yeah, I think
it's coming out October next month, 23rd. That's for PC. And is this some sort of Gwent thing?
Well, they've not entirely said, but by the sound of it, it's a card-based RPG. But whether that's a Gwent-based RPG or just I don't know. It's an odd one, but I'm interested. But I need.
Oh, it's The Witcher.
Yeah, I need more details before.
In Gwent, are the Witcher characters in Gwent, or are they not?
Yeah.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, they're all in there.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck it then. I don't know why I give a shit about it. I didn't realise they were. I need to start playing Gwent. Oh, I love card games.
Gwent's actually quite good.
I always thought it was just in-game, so there weren't any characters you knew, they were just made up. But...
No, you pick a faction and you have a hero, and Geralt's in it, Trish is in it. They're all in it.
Oh, fucked it. It's beyond that.
Yeah, no, it's quite good. It's quite good, Gwent. It's complicated at first, but it is actually quite good.
Was everyone a fan of Gwent when they first?
I liked it, but I
wasn't.
played it more playing Gwent than actually in The Witcher.
Yeah, it's like
you know what I mean.
I like
played
the idea of it, but I struggle with card games.
Oh, okay.
Like, so it was always I got confused as shit whenever I sat. But I'm just like I still to this day don't understand how it works.
I was I'm the exact same when it comes to these kind of things, but Gwent was like, I don't know, when it's just like, because when card games come out, they try to they explain it and they try to be way more intelligent when they're explaining it to you, and you're like, what? Like, you're just confused. Gwent is is straightforward. I had a good time with it, I gotta be honest, but I don't think I'm going to play the new Gwent game as such.
No. Well, is a couple of quick hits here before we get into probably the biggest news story for ages, let alone this week. But Red Dead Online, as if we didn't already guess it, is coming. They're doing the same as GTA. Basically, it's going to be a public beta, part of the game that you'll download separately or whatever, I don't know. But, it's not a really big deal because we all knew it was coming.
Yeah, I'll wait a good while before playing it, because if you remember GTA Online when that first came on,
yeah. I think that's why they're doing the beta this time. I think because GTA 5 when that started, the online on PS3 and 360, it was garbage. I don't even think you could really get into it for at least about a month. So I think this way it is at least a kind of getting around that by going, if it's a bit broke, it's in beta, don't worry. Yeah. So they've kind of got a bit of an out.
A bit of a funny one, but I didn't know this, but this morning, did you see that thing that's making the rounds? It could have been out for the last week or whatever, but they're talking about the level of detail since people previewed it and stuff, and they're like, there's just loads of things going around the place. But did you see the article that's going around about the horse's ball bag?
Yeah.
Shrinks in the cold.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly it, Chris. By the way.
Yeah.
That is exactly.
I thought you were guessing.
No, I read it. It's incredible.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just was
revolutionary.
I just think it's so funny to think that the developers sat in and went, "What are we doing today? Oh, we must shrink the horse's ball bag when the weather comes through." That's our design today.
The thing is, the bigger picture of that is what they're thinking of. So what else? What is this game going to be? The scale of this. If they can focus on what size the testicles of a horse will be in the snow, what else are they doing? That's what scares me. It's just going to be.
It almost.
I don't know. It's going to be such a big game.
Not to go on a Red Dead rant right now, but just from the preview people, what I've read, some people are kind of giving the opinion that this doesn't feel like a game, but it is. It's almost too ahead of itself.
I think those people need to calm it a little bit and let's play the full release, because most journalists, we were invited to go play it, and of all the fuckers we couldn't go to, we just couldn't make it, and it's. I know how much we were going to be allowed to play, and of a game of this size, I think let's calm it a bit. I'm very excited about this game.
Oh yeah,
very excited. But I think let's just calm. It's not long to wait now. Reviews will be out hopefully ahead of release. Let's calm it a bit over a couple of hours of play. I'm sure it was amazing, but we'll see. And a game that we can not calm it about, because I'm very excited about, is Devil May Cry 5. But oh no, microtransactions are a thing. You can buy red orbs that let you level up and stuff in the game. Just like you could in the last one that Capcom made. So I'm not overly sure why there's that big of a deal being made about this one.
Do you know what? Don't spend money. Just play it. Ignore them.
I don't have a problem with accessibility options, but I don't know that they should be selling the option to make the game easier. But I'm also torn because I quite like the idea that there are games that are tough, because I like tough games. I like the Dark Souls, I like the Devil May Cry's on hards, But this isn't the only new thing of that. This is that it's going to be in this game, but they've done it before. It's that I don't know. Again, it just feels like the hot new thing to be angry about, and
it's just anytime microtransactions are mentioned, it's gonna kick off. That's just how it is. Yeah. Nobody likes them at all.
No, and that's absolutely fine. But I won't be using them, and you shouldn't either. And that you is everyone. PUBG has been rated for PS4 in Korea. I'm not that shocked because I think we all thought it would happen eventually. Microsoft aren't stupid, because did they buy? No, they didn't. Tencent own them, don't they?
Yeah, they just put money towards the production, didn't you, of the Xbox version?
I mean, I'll be honest, I think it's a bit late, but the Xbox One X is getting a performance mode as well, which is good because we like them. Gaz, what would you play this in, performance or graphics?
I think this one would be performance because it's not exactly a looker anyway, is it? So
it's not
that interesting.
Well, look, these are the quick hits out of the way. Let's get to the big thing of this week, and probably of any week. Telltale Games. A studio that I think probably all of us have got some, along the line, some incredibly fond memory of. Like, I loved some of their earlier games before they got massive via The Walking Dead. I loved that first season of The Walking Dead. Tales from the Borderlands is amazing. The Wolf Among Us was great. They basically sacked off every one of their staff, bar about 20, who are going to be working on the Netflix Minecraft thing, which doesn't sound hopeful because there's not a lot of people working on a big property. And it's also now been coming out that basically the upper management were shits to the staff, and the whole thing seems like an awful, awful shame and a terrible mess at the moment, doesn't it?
It's sad. It's really sad because, as you say, like the for many of the games they release, they do hold a special place in a lot of people's hearts, and like you can't kind of recreate those moments like in The Walking Dead with like Lee and Clementine. That was something I'd never seen before, and the way all the games dealt with kind of like what's the human kind of psychology of them, and like how that impacted you, and you kind of became that person. You kind of came into the way of their thinking. It was very kind of intrinsic, and I think there's few games out there that have kind of managed to do that since. And you got to remember they influenced so many studios, like since Telltale, since like the beginning with like Sam and Max and like all that kind of stuff right at the beginning, and then from them The Walking Dead and all the little ones like the Back to the Futures, the Jurassic Parks, and then on to Game of Thrones and Guardians. They've always made a thing about choice, and the choices in these games always did matter. Like regardless of if you chose the other one, it may end up the same way, but because you're so connected to those characters, it mattered. So few games have managed to kind of recreate that, and it's really sad the way it's kind of unfurled over the last year or two, with the studio decreasing in numbers before the last Walking Dead series and to now, and like all these things coming out on Twitter. It's really heartbreaking because it reminds you what kind of video game development is. It's a struggle. It's people putting in hours of work and all this time and effort with going without seeing their families, and not having time off to have a social life so they can make this game. And then when that game doesn't perform and doesn't sell, that's their job on the line. And that's why these things, the kind of corporations, money titans, and there's no excusing what they did, but it happens, and that's the sad fact about kind of development. That's the kind of the world we're living in with video games. It's all about money, and there's so many developers coming out, and it's like Call of Duty is a hit, Fortnite's a hit. A lot of people play those games, like the mass public play these kind of games, and they ignore all the little games because it's just the way it is. And that's why it's such a shame when a studio as talented as Telltale have to go under.
I mean, there's some great games I played for them, like you say, Sam and Max, Puzzle Agent 1 and 2, great, fantastic games. But yeah, like literally looking at their Wikipedia just now, it's 25 employees apparently are left. So 14 years ago they started up, according to this. And yeah, it's weird because like all the properties they worked on, Game of Thrones, man, Minecraft,
Man did Guardians, like it's Marvel.
Oh yeah,
it's, like that is just massive.
And
like
Batman as well.
Yeah,
Batman.
too.
They had like. I think when this was announced, it didn't really like. I remember reading it, just kind of going, "Oh, that's a big fucking shame." And then like, I think it only took like half an hour later, I was like, "Holy shit, Telltale!" Because I was kind of like, I wouldn't say done, but it ran its course for me. The games,
same.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to lie. I was a bit like, okay, cool, another Telltale game. I was happy that they were always kind of churning them out, and whoever liked them. But like, there's no denying, like, the first season of The Walking Dead. Honestly, it's up there as one of my biggest gaming moments. I remember vividly the whole ending, like, how it affected me. I remember doing a podcast with Colin Mahern and stuff about that ending and everything, and blew my mind. And it's so devastating because certain games that they like, I think there's always a particular game that they've created that somebody's like, I really fucking love that. Like, it was only 2 years ago I played their Borderlands game, probably one of their best, in my opinion, next to The Wolf Among Us, which was that is one of the most soul destroying parts, is the fact I'm not getting that season 2. And like, I really wish the company would let these people like finish what they were in the middle of at least, and give them like their voice to be heard on this like platform, and going, look, this is kind of the last thing I'm doing right now, but at least I got to finish it. Because I saw some of the employees like bringing out statements saying, yeah, this is a travesty, but like, I'm actually really devastated that you won't get to play XYZ. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, like the Walking Dead is gonna add to that illustrious or not pile of games that then there's no end. There's no end because they never finished them. It's the Shenmue 3s, you know, it's. And well, like that's the bad example now, but once upon a time it would have been. You know, I think they're not even sure if the next episode of The Walking Dead, which was supposed to be like this week or next week, is actually going to come out.
Like that, yeah. But the thing is, when you read that side of it, it really hits the heart, because you're just kind of like, oh, this person just really fucking loved creating games and creating these memories for people, and that's the saddest part, I think, for me personally. Like, it's a really shitty situation, especially like prior to that we only had like Capcom and stuff, like they like were closing down the Dead Rising studio. Like, it's unfortunate in an industry that seems so unbelievably big, and it's like, I just feel like everyone's almost playing a game now. Do you know what I mean? Of some shape, like everyone is playing video games. Really, really sad.
It's a genuine tragedy for people who, like, you know, I saw one tweet and I can't attribute it, I can't remember, but it really hit home, because I think whatever industry you work in, there's a temptation to not take breaks. And the tweet was, I'm going to paraphrase slightly, but it was basically, man, I really wish I took those 2 weeks holiday now, because I fucking won't ever get paid for that. And it's like, you know, like, they never took holiday, they worked through and they just made the games, and now they're never going to get that time back. And it's like, it's not right.
It's pretty evil, man. Like, straight up,
no, I don't think from someone who has worked in an industry where there are unions, I don't think unionisation is the be-all and end-all answer here that fixes everything. But I was literally nearly 10 years ago, because I've nearly been doing this for 10 years, but over 5 years ago, I was saying, even in the UK, there needs to be some sort of unionisation in the games industry, because there's so much money around, but it's very much in one part of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's very, very poor balance, and on top of that, there's a really poor work-life balance. Like, I forget if I've said this on the podcast, but I think, you know, a lot of people think that, for example, games critics, oh wow, you know, you get to play games all day and review them. Fucking far from it. That would be a great job, wouldn't it? Like, the reality of it is, for me, often as I sit in front of a computer, whether I'm editing video or words or writing them, and then when I get to play a game is kind of when the day's over. Yeah. You know, I know people who don't work from home, who work in an office, and they do the same. They spend all day in front of a computer, emailing, writing, editing, you know, organising accounts, blah, 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 finances, freelance budgets, and then they come home and they play a game from, say, 6 or 7 till like 1 in the morning, because that's the game they're reviewing. That sounds, and that's like world's smallest violin, or you get to play the latest FIFA because, you know, out of hours. But like, at the same time, there are times when you just think, I just want to sit on my arse and have a beer and watch the football.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Mm. And that happens. And that's, you know, again, I'm not complaining, not at all. But take that to a grander scheme where people are literally creating these games and there's just a poor work-life balance. Well, you know, you'd like to think the days, I used to hear stories about essentially developers who just fucking slept under their desk. It happened a lot. You used to hear about it a lot coming from Japan, where people were basically, they lived at their office. They might go home in the morning to shower and come back, and that was it. They just basically had beds under their desks, and it's like, you'd like to think that the days of that's gone. I don't think it is. I think people are out there essentially killing themselves, and it's wrong. And I don't think unionising is the be-all and end-all solution, but it's certainly a step. And I know, coming from someone who's worked in an industry where unions don't have the power they perhaps used to, something needs to happen, because I feel like this is a thing indicative of outside of this industry, is that everyone I know is tired. Whenever I speak to anyone, how you doing? Yeah, I'm tired, knackered, everyone. And that's whatever job you do, all you hear is people saying I'm knackered. And I can't speak for culture outside of where I am, but it feels like the old phrase used to be work to live. And I feel like it's become live to work, and that's wrong. That's fucking wrong. Because those people that you're working for won't give a shit about you when you're in your grave. And I feel like everyone's tired, and like I say, it's live to work, or rather it's work to live, but now it's become live to work. And that's like, I joke about it with my wife, like, did we lose a war? Do you know what I mean? Did we lose a war where all of a sudden,
I heard somebody say yesterday, like, I went to this like food festival thing, and there was someone in the crowd said, I don't know if I'll actually get a job, because how am I supposed to, like, enjoy my life? Like, I actually heard that sentence said.
And as mad as that sounds, I get it. I think we need to cheer ourselves up, lads. I think we need to cheer ourselves up with some listener correspondence. It's a terrible shame about Telltale, all those people. There's so many people, man, out of a job,
and their families
everyone's struggling. But anyway, we can't. I don't want to say thoughts and prayers, but good luck. I hope everyone out there finds work. Obviously, we all do, right?
Oh yeah,
yep.
Definitely.
Big time.
I'm sure David Ayres does as well. And his question this week is: with all these mini consoles being released, at what point will the Wii U Mini be released, and will it be loved and the most underrated? Oh, that's a different question. So will the Wii U Mini be released, and will it be loved? No, they won't ever do that. Even for Nintendo, that would be too much.
Yeah.
Also,
how would you do the Wii U Mini with the tablet and everything?
The Wii U Mini is a different console. I think you release it as a Fisher Price tablet for kids.
Yeah.
Yes, I think
it's only
the
really
N64 one. If they do that, I think that might be the last one, because otherwise it's going to cost too much to have the capacity to store the games.
I'm so tired of mini consoles, right? Because like the NES, you could get them on the Wii. You could go and buy them on the Wii. Like you were saying about the PS1 games, a lot of them are on the PS Vita.
Somewhere, yeah.
But like the GameCube and the N64, a lot of that hasn't ever seen the light of day again. So I would love to see like fairly recent consoles coming back, like the GameCube, the N64 and the GameCube. I love to see them on like a mini. But I don't see the appeal of everything else.
I've worked it out.
I just want the games. Like
this is how you do it. You make a Labo kit that turns your Switch into a Wii U.
You're listening, Nintendo. Get the hardware and sort it.
David Ayres wants to know, so what's your most underrated game of the year? I don't know if we can answer that, actually, because it's not that many months and we'll be doing Game of the Years. And also, I've not come prepared and can't think of one. So
I also get... I'm not going to mention any game, but I also get caught with this kind of question, because I don't know if it's meant... Like, do you find the most underrated game and it was received poorly, or a game that's received really well and you're the only kind of person that really likes it that much? I always get caught with this kind of one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess Gary would say something like Iconoclast, but that wasn't underrated.
No.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing. It's like, I suppose, like, underrated is like what was it received well?
People mean underappreciated.
Yeah, that's the one where it's like it was a really good game, but it just wasn't played by many people.
That's in that case, that's a very easy question for me.
Go on,
Yakuza 6. Like that is top 3 game of the year for me, and that was barely played. Like, and that ending is one of the most fantastic endings in a video game. Like the whole game was just magnificent, but no one really played it, and it's a shame because it was excellent.
Well, McPoo wants to know what is the best game to play when hungover. I think it's FIFA.
FIFA.
I'm going to say it as of lately, Spider-Man.
Oh, you've been drinking, Ad? Is this intervention time?
Let's be honest, that's why I platinumed it.
Yeah, okay. Gaz, what about you? I mean, again, Forza's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a nice, relaxing game. So, yeah, that's probably not a bad shout.
Okay, Thomas at LlamaFluff42 wants to know, how do you wake up on dark mornings? Is it?
With a pissed off face.
I was just going to say an alarm. I'm actually pretty good. No, I'll go back to what I said earlier. I'm very tired all the time at the moment, so I am waking up to an alarm. But generally speaking, I just wake up about 5 minutes before my alarm, get up and get on with it. Go and have a shit, wash, brush the teeth. Not in any particular order, whatever comes first, I suppose. But I mean, I don't know. How do you wake up on dark mornings, Gary?
I mean, I'm kind of much the same. I can get up easily and do all the shit. It's just that little bit later in the day when it hits you and you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake, But yeah, I'm not too bad for getting up early.
What about you, Chris? I mean, you do funny hours, so.
My body clock's all over the shop. But I if I've got a lie in and it's dark or whatever, I tend to listen. I tend to listen to ASMR or AMSR.
Really?
Yeah, ASMR.
And meditation stuff because...
Yeah, no, I know what it is. I just never met anyone who listens to it.
Oh, I listen to ASMR all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, it's just really nice, really relaxing.
What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, it's good.
Who's the hot new ASMR? Who's the hot new whisperers?
Oh, I don't know by names.
Could I do some ASMR? Can someone just tell me if it's AS or AM, please?
AS.
It's ASMR.
ASMR.
Yeah.
So is that when you're getting really close to the mic?
It's different things for different people, really.
Adam, you'd be fucking top at that. I'd listen to you.
If you take hold of your shaft with your left hand and slowly pull away from your body.
Is that ASMR?
That's just horny AF. No, it's like it depends. It's like different types. So there's like people that kind of crinkle like sweet packets, or
you mean stuff like that?
Brush your hair. Well, no, I don't listen to.
Yeah, there's all different types.
Or then there is there is like people like whispering and talking through the mic.
Is there a market
calmly.
for this? Like, can we make money off this?
You can make shitloads.
Some people do.
Go on YouTube and type in ASMR. And it's
no one knows what it is.
I'm actually looking at it right now, and if I'm honest, like the way it sounds, I have to say that like if you listen to like any of the last like 3 or 4 Leonard Cohen records, you're probably going to have this because he's so in the mic, and it's like
I don't really like it. It makes me feel a little bit uneasy. That stuff, like it makes me feel like someone's going to do something.
Ed?
Not scared, just uneasy.
Bob Ross.
Thomas also asked.
Bob Ross is kind of who started it.
Yes, yeah.
Like, because the way he spoke when he was doing his painting program, he's like very softly and stuff. People were like, "Holy shit, this is actually really relaxing. It's really nice." And from that, it kind of.
I just thought he was going to just like pull a gun and start shooting me. So it didn't work for me. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. But Thomas also wants to know what's your big. He says, "Look forward planning, but what's your big Christmas game likely to be this year?" I think mine might be Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Darksiders.
Yeah.
For me.
Oh, Darksiders, yeah. Well, do you know what? Just Cause. If I'm not reviewing Just Cause,
yeah,
because they've got the December release. But
you're right.
I think he's meaning like what game you're going to play in your off time, and I think
whatever.
I tried it last year.
Yeah, whatever I don't.
Odyssey maybe.
Yeah, it'd be Darksiders. I think for me.
You'll have played Darksiders before then.
Assassin's Creed always seems to be my Christmas game. Like,
right.
I'm always playing that in like Christmas Day. So like, I'm looking forward to Odyssey.
Okay. Last one this week. Bongo Billy at Big Old Bongos on Twitter. I don't know if this is made up or not. Actually, I didn't put this in the doc, so I'm not even sure. I'm going to answer. This has been a fairly blue podcast, so it seems pretty pointless to stop now. He wants to know, or she, I don't know. Bongo Billy. Billy's a name that could be anything, couldn't it, really? Would you rather eat beans off an otter's arsehole or marshmallows out of a goat's nostrils?
Thank you, Bongo Billy. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best question this week. Well, it's not, is it? But like, it's a good question. I'm going to go with marshmallows because I think I'd. If the option is ever, do you want to eat something from someone's arsehole?
Yeah,
unless
I'm with
the other option is after it's been inside an arsehole. I think I'm going to go for the other option. And like marshmallows are just marshmallows, and they're going to be a bit grotty, aren't they? Well, you see, it says off an otter's arse. Maybe it's
still-
just
it's
balanced.
still an
inside.
arsehole no matter what.
Yeah, but they're beans.
Otter
beans.
stays by the riverbank, so it might be it'll be clean-ish.
Hang on.
Well, look, let me now, let's change this up. Would you rather eat beans or marshmallows?
Marshmallows.
Right.
Beans.
So
But I wouldn't eat them out of goat's nostril.
And
right,
cold
but if the
effectively.
alternative is that you've got to eat beans out of an otter's arsehole,
But it's not
and
out
otters
of-
aren't going to
it's
sit.
off- it's
An
off
otter's not
its
going to sit
arsehole.
still.
But it's
The
off
thing
its
is,
arsehole. It doesn't
Right,
say
but it's
whether
not
it's
gonna
alive
sit
or
still.
dead, though.
Does that
That's
matter?
what I
mean, nobody-
It's still-
nobody
it's
but
still
you
an
was wondering that.
arsehole.
Second, right? There's a trick here. There's a situation here that's not been clarified, right? When it comes to eating the beans, right? If you're looking at an otter's arsehole and there's a load of beans
We've all
on
been
his
there.
arsehole, right? Am I getting handed a spoon or am I going in with my mouth?
I don't think you get a spoon.
Then I'm definitely going for the marshmallow, because the marshmallow you would get away with not getting near the nose. Like I think the top bit of the marshmallow will be stuck in his nose, but like you could pull it out the clean part.
But
with
what
your
if he
mouth.
went for you? Because you're going to
Yeah,
be
it's not
close
kicking you.
Fuck it, it's
to-
better than eating an otter's
Hoofing you.
arsehole.
Yeah, but what if the goat eats
But
your
you're not
face
eating the
off?
arsehole.
The goat might be
I-
quite an aggressive, especially if you're plucking things out of its nostrils. It's already
Absolutely, a
shoved up
goat's
there.
kick.
Yeah, you could get
goats
mauled
kick at
by
you.
an angry goat.
But
I'm gonna be
conversely,
very honest
otters
here.
don't tend to sit still. They're quite greasy and they run around a lot.
I
Yeah.
did not see my day going this way.
No, but sometimes you got to be prepared for this sort of thing, guys.
yeah.
You're doing a God is a Geek podcast, mate. You got to be prepared for this kind of hot button question.
It's been a while since we've
can't get
answered
the
one of
image.
these.
Thank you, Bongo Billy, for your
Yeah, please
hilarious,
send more.
Hilarious tweet. You're a very talented human being.
Do you know what?
I'm never going to look at beans the same again.
No.
It's been an interesting podcast.
Well, hey!
God fucking mighty. I hate you so much, Gary. So much more than I did before.
It's been a good good podcast, but not as good as the otter one.
No, that's poor.
Oh.
Sorry, that's not even worthy of hatred. That's poor. I'm sorry, Chris. You're better than that.
Laters.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. Well, that seems like as good a time as any to end this podcast. And we didn't even talk about Hideo Kojima and Death Stranding's new trailer.
We don't need to.
I mean, I'm proud of us, is what I'm saying, Adam. We've raised above it.
Yeah.
I mean, what is there to say? Still have no idea what kind of
you're
game
really
it is.
going there?
I want to, but also, like, what's the point? It's just going to moan, aren't we, about how we don't know what kind of game it is, and, like, you know, hey, it's Kojima, how dare you criticise the god of gaming and all his strange things and proclivities and...
The only tiny thing I want to say is that, you know, when the new trailer came out and it's Troy Baker voicing it, right? Did anyone
Yep.
else see that, like, a lot of people, like, when that article went up, they almost had to explain who Troy Baker was?
No, I didn't see that. I saw
was
people
like-
moaning on Reddit that it sounded like Troy Baker.
What else is he fucking going to do?
I don't know. Listen, don't ever get me, I'm not Reddit. But I am Adam Cook, and I am at GBSF on Twitter. Adam is at Adam Zokes, Gary is at BlueFury43, and Chris is at
47.
WWE Fan 47. Is that right, Chris?
Gary's Blue Fury 47, who was not 43.
Right. I didn't.
Mate, you're
Did you
trying
need
to
to
take
tell
the
me
piss
that
out.
now?
You're trying to take the piss out of me, so I'm just correcting your mistake.
How am I taking the piss
Whoa,
to calling
fighting
you
words.
WWE fan?
Because that's not my. Well, it's not taking the piss, but just
Oh, isn't it?
It's
I
not
was
his name,
trying
Ed.
to
That's
build it
Rasslin.
up, Chris. I was trying to build
I'm
it
sorry.
up to then
Sorry.
go, and he'll prove that with his preview. I
Oh,
wasn't, but I'm
right.
going to say I was, and edit this to make you look terrible. As is my want to do. Now, Chris is, of course, at First Avenger 83, and I nearly called you Barry there, Gary. It's late. And Barry is at Blue Fury 47. I've forgotten now.
Yes.
It's on the sheet I'm looking at. I could just look, at Blue Fury 47. I put that on there, and yet I still didn't read it. Sorry, Gary. And Chris, you are not WWE fan. Well, you are. And you can find out more about WWE by going to our website. And hopefully, I would imagine probably after this goes live on a Wednesday, there'll be some video. We're not 100% sure what we want to do with it, because we've normally go to these previews and it's like you get some video about 10, 20 minutes. And we've got like an hour, haven't we? Plus, so...
yeah. I mean, the game's
You know.
out soon, so we'll do a lot of streaming with it when it comes out as well. So
So what you're saying is, fuck it. unless I misread this situation terribly, which I, again, want to do. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this podcast. I do want to quickly remind you, because I haven't done yet, that if you really enjoyed it, there's about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes this week where you missed us talking about other stuff. There's more baked beans talk. If you didn't think there was enough before we went into the Patreon only section, there's more baked beans discussion. And patreon.com/GodIsAGeek for $1 a month. So that's $12 a year minimum. That is, it's the least you can pay. And you get, for $12 a year, you'll get every podcast early. You'll get every podcast extended. You'll get early video access. We do loads of code giveaways on Patreon. We've given probably away like 50 to 100 codes for Xbox and stuff now. Like, we give away loads of codes on our Patreon supporters. We really do appreciate it. So for like $12 a year, you're getting hopefully your money's worth and then some. You get early access. We kind of also have a Discord as well, which has got a Patreon only Discord where we talk to people about what's coming up. What do they want to see? What do you, as the people who love us the most, that sounds corny, didn't mean to say it like that, but what do you want us to stream? Because that's kind of what we're here for, to bring you our access and show you what you want to see. So yeah, patreon.com/GodIsAGeek, and of course go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, just type in God is a Geek, you'll find us everywhere there. iTunes would be brilliant if you review and rate the podcast, and if you want to, go to subscribe to us via Podbean, which is our podcast hosting service. Chris, Adam and Gary, thank you ever so much for being here this week.
Thank
you.
And as always, we'll speak to you, dear listener, whenever you want to listen. I've completely forgotten how I end the podcast and gone a bit strange. No, I just, till the end, a comedian, eh? Till the end. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you next week or whenever you choose to listen. Bye-bye for now.